Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to today's episode of the New Hollywood Podcast, where we interview some of the brightest creators, stars, celebrities, influencers that I know. And today we are in for a treat. We have Johnny Rapp, straight out of Nashville, Tennessee, who, unlike most of us at 12 years old, created a Twitter account, started managing some of the biggest social media pages that we all love to follow and laugh at. He had the best one-liners growing up from 12 till graduation day with 120 characters or less. And at 16 years old, he was doing deals with Shark Tank's Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
And at 18, he decided right after graduation to hop on a plane and make a move to California. He's been here since, and he's been crushing it every day. Thanks for coming on the show, Johnny. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. Podcasts are like cool now. It's like I feel like it's the way to like ask your friends to hang out, and it's like not that weird. You kind of just hop on the podcast and you guys just talk and you're chatting. Really appreciate you having me.
No, I think it's like a great way to have a good conversation with friends, but also with like the type of network that I have. I think it's a great way to like share my network, let a lot of people learn some interesting stuff about a variety of different topics. And I think you'd be a great person to teach people about how to turn your hobby into an actual income and actually how to leverage social media for its full power.
I appreciate that. You've been like talking about this for so long. I'm glad I'm finally getting to come on and like see everything. And like, I don't know, it's a really, really cool experience.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful experience working with the Cast Media crew. We're up here on the 18th floor right off Sunset and Vine with this gorgeous view and an amazing studio with like 3 cameras. So It's like an overall really well executed program. And I spent a lot of time to make sure that we did it right.
100%.
What I think is really cool to start off with every single person is where they kind of came from and what kind of attracted them towards doing whatever it is that makes them special.
Yeah.
So if you want to tell me about like, you know, that day when you're back in Nashville, Tennessee, and what decided to make you invest your time into Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, social media has always been like a crazy thing. Like I heard about Facebook when I was really, really young. Probably like 10, 11 years old, I really like started to dive into it and understood like kind of what was going on. You're able to share media. You can find pictures online. You can find videos online and upload them pretty much as yourself, or just tell some sort of joke around those pictures or do something with it. So I was like, how do I really, really, you know, do something crazy with this? Because like this was like the first time ever being exposed to social media. Then I saw Twitter, and Twitter had this retweet function. I wasn't really sure like what Twitter was about when I first signed up. I actually deleted it after the first time I downloaded it because I was like, what is all this stuff? I wasn't understanding of all the things like down at the bottom, the hashtags. I had no clue what that meant. Like I was seeing them everywhere and I was like, what does that mean? Like it was like different stuff. And then I started to really understand like the power of like just one thing, which is the retweet, or if I post something funny and it's entertaining to you, then you can retweet it and share it with everyone that follows you, which is really, really crazy to me. So I got like obsessed with the idea of like, okay, how many retweets can I get on a post and how many followers can I gain on an account? And like, I wanted to figure out some sort of way where every time I was posting, I was getting just retweets. So a lot of it like was just me being obsessed with the numbers aspect of it, understanding that each one of those retweets was an individual who was sharing it with their friends. And I just got so excited when I could find something like a really, really dope image and then put some, before memes were even called memes at that point. Like it wasn't really that popular. I was just literally just posting jokes. And
so you're basically captioning each photo.
Yeah. And it was like, I just wanted to find what was on the internet that was doing really, really good. And I would literally just straight up, like I would copy it word for word and I'd repost it. You know, I'm like literally 12 years old, but I'm doing that thing on my account and I'm seeing like a bunch of people react to it. And then I'm like I'm searching on Reddit. I'm searching on all these different places. I'm trying to figure out, okay, where can I find the best content to put on here? And I wanted to be the first person to actually be posting this content, because then I saw people were starting to steal tweets like crazy, which was like insane. You post something and then someone else could literally post the exact same thing word for word, and it could do a lot better depending on what their account was. And I don't know, that was one of the interesting parts of that. Like I started to kind of see a community form on Twitter. There was a bunch of people that were doing the same thing as me. There's some people that were just going on there and using it as an entertainment piece, a news source, different things like that. And then I was using it as like, I want to be the person that's entertaining. And then I started talking to other account owners. Like if I have 100,000 followers and someone else had 100,000 followers, like we would DM each other back and forth and be like, yo, can you retweet these 3 tweets? I'll retweet your 3. And like, let's just go back and forth. And like every day, let's do it. And then you start to see consistent growth. You can watch your account really grow in front of your eyes. And like, I don't know, something about being like a kid, you're like really, really excited to see those numbers on the screen from something that you were doing. And then the monetization started kicking in. So I was like, wow, I'm really starting to like build a following. What do I do now? Like, and then I started hearing about these platforms. One was called My Likes. One was called Cha Cha. And there was like a few others at the time that people were using, where you essentially would go find a link from this website, you post it on your Twitter account, and you figure out how many clicks can you get to that, and you get this amount of money per click that you got. And so it was really, really exciting. Like, how can I figure out like to get the most amount of clicks? And then you could refresh it 30 minutes later and be like, oh wow, it's up to like $15 now. But like at the time, it was like so cool to kind of watch from my point of view, because like I didn't have bills back then, like, or anything like that. So this was all just net profit of me sending traffic to some website I saw, and then collecting
free money for doing your hobby.
Yeah, literally a hobby, and I just loved it so much. It was cool.
Hashtag profits.
Hashtag profits.
And you're in like that phase when like it was still the pound sign, and now it's like, oh, the hashtag.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Now, how did you end up about getting hit up by somebody like Mark Cuban at such a young age?
I mean, a lot of it was probably when that happened was me reaching out. I saw that I was always looking like, how can I leverage a following of 500,000 people? How can I leverage this following of 1 million people and kind of do something with it? A lot of it came from, app downloads. And a lot of people are trying to, pay to post on a big account. And if it's the right creative and you're posting the right stuff, it's the right video, it's actually going to convert into a download, which is pretty much money in their eyes. And he had this app. It was called I think it was called Cyberdust. I don't know if it's still around. I haven't really checked it out, but it was essentially like Snapchat. But he was like, he would allow people to really message him on there, because like not many people were trying to use it. So like I would just message him like a lot, and like he would message back, and I would like give him ideas, and then he was trying to figure out how he could get on some of these big pages. And that's when I started to really, really like work out something to where I was like, okay, well, let's figure out like a pay per download type of thing, different things like that, and see if we can really turn this into a cool little project that me and him could work on. Made a profile on there, shouted out on a lot of the accounts, tried to see, like how many like people could I get to follow me on there, because that essentially is showing me how many people I'm downloading. So I was doing the same thing he was doing on these big pages and expanding it. And I don't know, it never really happened the magnitude that I thought it was going to. After I did it, I was like, here's the results. Like, I think it was like 1,200 downloads or something like that off the first post, which was really, really, I don't know, it was cool. And I was like, we can really scale this up. That was like my first little like, where I don't know, it was a deal that like now it's like, I just laugh back at it now. But it was really interesting to be a part of that, talk to him, go through that process.
Did you get ghosted?
Yeah, I got ghosted bad. I'm upset about it.
It's tough, but like, I mean, dude, like that's really the way that any of us learn how to do any business. It's really about like failing and learning forward and really growing. But what's really amazing about that is most adults would be scared to hit up Mark Cuban and pitch him on a deal.
Yeah.
Like you made it further than 90% of people that try and do deals with Mark Cuban.
And a lot of it, I think it was like the confidence, like before, like even clout was like a term. I was just like trying to leverage, okay, there's 100,000 people or there's 500,000 people that are following me. It's like,
did he know you were a kid too?
I don't really, like he followed me on like my personal on Twitter and everything. Like it was like, I think he did know I was a kid, but like he also saw like just what my bio, what it stated and different things like that. And so it really worked out well from the start, and then kind of just fizzled out.
That's still trippy, dude. So that's a great intro to kind of what you've started off with, leveraging like cloud and figuring out ways to turn this hobby into a full-time job. Did you ever have like any part-time jobs growing up?
I did. I worked at a movie theater, and it was really cool. I was like that guy that essentially worked at the movie theater, and whenever your boys would pull up, I'd be like, I would just, let them kind of slide. Sorry, Carmike Gate, Bellevue, Tennessee. But it was just like, I don't know, it was a cool experience. Got to see like the price points of everything, how much the popcorn actually costs and different things like that.
It's a ripoff, right? It's
a huge ripoff. But I mean, hey, you got to make their money. They're not making much money off of the tickets, which I learned very like shortly after, and so they're trying to figure out how to make money. But I don't know, it was really cool. I love the vibe in movie theater. Didn't really like cleaning movie theaters after everyone. I've gotten to the habit of actually like cleaning up afterwards. I feel like just because I hated being the guy, you're getting paid.
I've noticed you do that after movies, whereas everyone else just leaves their stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, getting paid like minimum wage or like whatever it was at the time, and just having to like sweep through that stuff, it was crazy. But like sometimes it would be really, really bad, and people would like notice that I was mad or like just didn't want to do it. Like I just hated that little tedious task. People would like start helping me and different things like that, because like sometimes you would walk in the movie theater and it would just be filled. Like it would just like every aisle, you couldn't even see the floor. So it's like a 45-minute like project. It was crazy. I'd just be listening to music, just not very happy about it. But the movie theater was probably the best for sure.
That's kind of a trip, because like at that point, were you making real money on Twitter when you were working in the movie theater?
Yeah, a little bit of, I was making money on Twitter, but then it was also like my parents were just pushing me to kind of have a job. I was pretty much on my iPad all day, every day. And it's like from their point of view, I kind of understand their perspective. I'm literally, I don't know what I would be like if my kid was just like telling me, oh, I'm doing this online and I don't know much about it. And then they're literally doing it nonstop over and over again. Like every single day I'm trading retweets like I was talking about earlier, messaging all these kids where I'm literally nonstop looking at an iPad. And like I'm at school, I'm getting on VPNs, I'm doing all these different things to figure out like how I can, like keep my accounts growing, keeping it like that's all I was focused on. And yeah, that's about it.
So I know you got into Kentucky, right?
Western
Kentucky for college.
Yeah.
You're graduating, you got an opportunity to move out to Southern California and work in social media.
Yeah.
How did you like balance and then justify that to your family? Because if I told my family I was just going to move to California to make posts on my social media pages, they'd be like, Ashwin's gone crazy.
Yeah, I was kind of like just always talking to all the people online so much that I kind of wasn't really sharing with a lot of people like kind of what I was doing, but I like shared like a lot of it with my parents and like kind of let them know what was going on, like what I thought they could understand. And so like as it built up throughout the years, like 4 or 5 years of me doing it, and they had a really understanding, people were coming up to them, like asking them about me and stuff like that. Then it was like, okay, like that, I think that was always kind of like a possibility in their head that I was going to try to do something myself. Cause like I've always been like interested in business. Like I was the kid who was like, going to get beers for people out of the fridge when I was a little kid and like charging them 25 cents at like the Super Bowl, like and different stuff like that. Like I was always trying to finesse money or whatever. And like the best way is entrepreneurship. Cause
you're like Spider and Goodfellas or Henry Hill.
Yeah, 100%. I feel that vibe.
No, that's trippy. Now, what made you like confident in like your decision to just invest in like yourself running your own businesses and working?
Yeah, well, college was always going to be there. Like I could, if I wanted to go to Western Kentucky, like this upcoming semester, I probably could. Like it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I felt like college was kind of even more risky than coming out here. Like I knew I had some sort of path that I thought I was going to take when I came out here. When I was in college, I like what I was going to do, study social media marketing. Like I felt like they were studying a lot of stuff that I already knew. Like I was doing so much stuff on social media at that time that I was just like, I don't need to go to school for social media. Instead of having a degree kind of give me a job that is going to be like, oh, I've done this. I was worked on this campaign. I've done this. And that I feel like it's way easier to get a job in Hollywood having that type of stuff on your resume than like a social media degree, in my opinion.
Real life work experience as opposed to just reading about it in a book.
Yeah, it shows like you're intuitive. It shows your creativity. It shows different things. And when you're able to show results, I don't know, if I'm like hiring people and I see that, I respect that. Like it's, I don't know, more personable. You can have an understanding of it. Everyone like has the grasp of like what it takes to get a degree, but then also the real world experience. A lot of people like, I don't know, it's really hard to crush it on some of those things. And when you're like killing it and you're just focusing on that nonstop, then yeah, it's going to be easier to get a job in my opinion, for sure.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, knowing how to do something is much better than like having read a book. I've got a ton of cookbooks, but I still don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I just worked as a chef or instead of just reading about it, I probably would rather go with the guy that worked as a chef than the guy that's read a lot of cookbooks.
There's so many just like little details and those like tedious tasks and stuff. Like when you're working on things like that, when you're actually doing it, then you start to learn like the feeling of it and like the actual going through the motions, going through the actions. And then that's when it starts to get, I don't know, a little bit more easier for you and you're able to learn a lot quicker, I feel like.
Now you're still extremely young. And I think one of the biggest issues in like social media marketing and that whole space is no one ever wants to take advice from someone that's like a kid. And you intuitively, regardless of your age, you've been on this since you're 12, which gives you roughly Is it like 9 years now? Roughly
it's
9 years?
It's about 8 years, yeah.
8 years of experience functionally using it, coming up with creatives, testing it in real results, which makes you kind of somewhat of an expert in that field because there's no like textbook on how this is successfully done.
Sure.
How do you go about like dealing with like that sort of like age discrimination and like business deals when you're dealing with people? Like most people are going to say that I'm an adult. I'm going to tell you how to do something.
Sure.
But you know that that way is not going to necessarily work. And they're going to be like, well, you know, I have 30 years of marketing or advertising experience. Yeah. How do you kind of combat or educate people on how social media works?
I think a lot of people, like when I talk to them, they can see that I have a lot of passion for it. And like I'm a firm believer that if you love what you're doing, like truly genuinely love what you're doing, you're going to get really, really good at it pretty fast. And like I picked social media as my route to really just start loving and like find as many things in that area that I love as possible. So when I'm able to speak with these people, I'm able to, you know, show that type of passion where it's not, I'm able to like walk in with confidence that I've been doing this for the past 8 years. And I'm able to talk to them about what I've known. I've done so much trial and error in this where it's just like, even though it's been an 8-year gap, it's been literally every single day, not a day off for those 8 years, focusing on how to grow a following, focusing on the best posting practices, watching exactly where, you know, where the algorithms are going, how Facebook is kind of changing, watching how everything's evolved. And then when I meet with them, I don't know, I don't really feel like anyone's ever doubting me. They might question me, but they have an understanding like that the millennials, I think, know a lot about social media. And when you can go in there and really, you know, prove to them that you've done this before and you're going to really take what you've learned and add it on to what they're doing, you can really, really crush it, I feel like, for them. And then it's cake.
So it's generally saying that, hey, I am your target demo of people that you're trying to hit. You should probably listen to.
Yeah, and it's like I've done such a good job of like kind of understanding the perspectives of a lot of the pages because like I've had to run pages that like it's all girl followers and I'm having, you know, to be like how would a girl word this? How would a girl post this? Like different things like that. So I'm able to understand a lot of different perspectives pretty well. Like I have the stuff that I love, like basketball and hip hop music, where I understand that perspective. But I've like played a part in a lot of different perspectives where I'm able to, you know, kind of help different companies, you know, get some light inside of social media. Because it's like, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to be seen by these people? Because you're fighting for their attention. You're fighting for time on their screen. You're fighting for time on their Instagram. How is that going to make your brands, you know, be that person that they're watching? And so I'm able to look at all the stuff, all the media that I've, you know, digested over the past 8 years and like add it all together and like, how does this help this brand? How can I fix this brand? Here's an idea. And I don't know. And it's all loving it, just literally loving it so much that I'm able to obtain a lot of the different knowledge.
Yeah, you've been in hundreds of different people's shoes.
Yeah, literally. It's been crazy, but it's fun for sure.
So one of the things I like to get into with everyone that's kind of an expert in any field is a lot of the listeners are people that are trying to get into or trying to learn about how they can do better.
Sure.
What would be like your advice to someone that is trying to build their social media following or leverage social media to build a business?
Social media following in general, a lot of it, it's like I see Gary Vee say that's this type of stuff a lot, where he's just kind of really trying to only focus on creating a community through your page, like focusing on actually commenting, you got to be genuine back to people on social media. If you're at 1,000 followers right now, you got to be commenting on like every single person's page. You got to really like have as many people as possible really like your profile. Like I feel like Instagram is somewhere we all go and hang out, and you go there and you comment on people's stuff. Those comments usually come back and you're liking people's stuff and you're engaging. That engagement, you know, comes back. I think a lot of people's heads, I've seen people that I'll follow and then follow back. It's just like a weird like game of just like liking each other's stuff back and forth and like understanding, I don't know, how important it is to show people love on there. And
reciprocity.
And then you're going to get love back. Like that's just how it goes. But that's what I always tell people, and like how I started like building a following early on, which I don't think is like very possible now, is just like following a bunch of people. And then what I would do is like I would just unfollow all the people that didn't follow back. And then I just had a good like range of people. I would always have more followers than following. And so like when it comes to just going from the grounds up, being by yourself, not using anyone but yourself and growing, It's just spending time on it really, and really, really DMing people. Like the algorithm, how it works on Instagram, for instance, you got to be, if you direct message someone, it makes Instagram think, okay, this person's relevant in your life. So they're going to be more likely to see your posts. You're going to be more likely to see the Instagram story is going to be closer to the left side instead of the right side. Just because the algorithm really thinks, oh, you guys were talking to each other. So you knowing that, you're able to kind of, I don't know, expand off of that and really, really grow. And then you'll see the people that just have like automatic DMs, automatic comments, different stuff like that, which is a smart way of doing it.
Thanks for following.
Yeah.
Please check out my free ebook.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. And like I get it. And it's like, I don't know, do whatever you can to get someone to click on your link and care about you, I guess, on there.
Do you think it works better if you send more of a personalized things, like something genuine, something that you noticed?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've done, but it's just like if it's genuine, like it's genuine. Like there's no like
I think you can't beat authenticity online because like, people can tell.
That's literally me going to your profile, seeing like pretend that I didn't know you. I would look at your profile, I'd see you're doing, hey man, how's the podcast doing? Like literally asking them questions about stuff, seeming to be interested in their lives, and then you're going to get that like engagement, that curiosity back usually most of the time. But it's also interesting to me just to see like the metrics too of like people with like how many followers they have and like how quickly people respond, different things like that. So like leveraging like the optics of social media, I feel like is a big thing too. The numbers like people love so much. And so like I always try to find out like ways to artificially kind of inflate those any way that I can, just by understanding kind of the algorithm. But I always just tell people just love doing it, love showing what you're doing, focus on the actual content and engage with people back just as much as you're showing off your stuff on social media. You got to show love just like you're expecting the love that you're going to get on your stuff, you know? And I think that's the best way to go about it. Or you just got to be really, really, really artistic and doing something that a massive amount of people really love and getting it seen.
Know how to flow with that.
Yeah.
Which I think is very key. Like most people don't really realize that things are a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like you have to view, and I think something that you said a couple of times already is perspectives.
Yeah.
And if I don't put myself in your perspective of how you're viewing the world,
yeah,
I'm just wasting my time having a conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to force my idea and be like, Johnny just doesn't get it.
Right.
Whereas like if you're aware of like that person's upbringing, that way that person thinks,
yeah,
you're much more likely to figure out like, hey, these are probably your pain points.
Yeah.
This is why this is a solution. And you're able to convey it a lot better.
Yeah, 100%.
And you have to return things. When people give you love, you got to give them love back. Otherwise, they're not going to want to spend their love on you.
100%. And then it's all like, I guess like the law of attraction or just like giving value out, putting value out there, whether it be in the form of commenting, showing someone genuine love online, just doing anything that you can to provide value for someone. You genuinely see that love back in real life as much as you would on Instagram. Just trying to provide value to people. You know what they're good at. You know what you're good at. How can you help them if you actually want to be a friend of theirs? How can you help them? How can you provide value to their life using what skills you're really good at? And I don't know. I feel like that's like a lot of the kind of game, social media in general, that I've been seeing.
I think that's applicable to the game of life is as long as you can bring value to people and you genuinely can express that and people can see it, then people are going to like you.
Yeah.
If people like you, they're going to invest their time and their resources into also helping you.
Yeah.
And I think it's not even a greed or a self-motivating factor. I think it's just the way naturally organizations and structures are built is if something helps you,
yeah,
you want to keep it around.
Yeah. What's helped me a lot too with like just like finding that like motivation, that confidence, and just like I guess the motivation honestly of like wanting to help other people and like how I kind of started changing my mindset too is like where are these people going to be 5 years from now? Like you never know. Like I could be talking to you right now, Ashwin Jacob, the two words Ashwin Jacob, 5 years from now could be like, whoa, like what do you mean? You did a podcast with Ashwin Jacob, like and everyone's just like going nuts. Or like you just never know where these people are gonna be. So like you want to help them out and eventually like, you know, get them to that point if they're that type of person, you know. And so I don't want to like doubt on you because I've seen so many people, you know, kind of blow up out here, do some really, really crazy things. And I've watched people doubt them. I don't want to be that person that's ever doubting anyone. So I'm just like always for it because like you really never know who you're talking to.
I mean, that's something I can very much so relate to because I was always that kid back in Boston that wanted to be in entertainment, wanted to be in Hollywood, wanted to do all these big things. And most people were like, that's not a realistic opportunity.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And since I've accomplished a lot of those things and I've been progressively improving, a lot of those people are people that hit me up and are like, oh my God, I'm so happy that you did it. I'm like, why did you show me nothing but hate when I was trying to do it? And I think that's a big reason why I go out of my way a lot of times to mentor or help people out when I can, because realistically, the way I view it, the better off each one of those individuals does that I'm able to help, the better off and the better position I'm going to be in ultimately, because I'm building up 5 other bosses.
Yeah.
And 5 other bosses are going to build up 10 other bosses. And all of those people are going to have their goals and vision aligned for that group. And that group having that cumulative clout is going to do so much better than one person by themselves doing pretty good.
100% of the time. 100% of the time, I would take that army of like good people doing each other right and taking each one of their, in particular, really good skill sets, and they're all dominating their space. And then it's just like, wow, like I have a friend that does this. I have a friend that does this. And it's like, you guys started from, I don't know, you could have been working in a movie theater, and then you just literally get into like this like zone of finding something that you really love, and you never know what the finishing product's going to be, which is really, really cool. And I try to respect that with every single person's, you know, craft that I meet out here. Because like you really never know who's gonna just spark and just be a star, or like you never know who's just gonna just start killing it. So it's like I want to provide value to that when I'm good at it, for sure.
Plus, it's so much more fun that way.
Yeah, you're like live life better. Like, because what's the counterpart to that? Like just hating on everyone and doubting it. Like that's just like sad, and like you're not. I don't know.
Well, it's also when you're not working as a human being, you want to do fun things. Like, who do I call when I want to go to the bar? Or who do I call if I have a bad breakup and just want somebody to complain to? And or like, dude, even like on a Friday, if I want to go to the beach and ride birds, I can hit up tons of different people. I think that's a big difference. People are like, well, how do you have such a big network? I'm like, I care about a lot of different people, and some of them care about me back. Yeah.
And which I got to get better at. I've got to get you teaching me better. You just like, you remember like such like the facts of the people like so well. So like you see that you meet them two weeks earlier, and then you see them 2 weeks later, you're like, oh, hey, how's this going? Or like, are you still at so-and-so? Or like, have you eaten at this recently? Like no matter what that little factoid is that you know about that person, that last moment that you shared, you've gotten so good at really, really like, I don't know, just like it's ingrained in your head as soon as it actually happens. To when you bring it up, it's like, wow, like Ashwin really, really cares about me. Like it's very, very like personal. Like he's remembering like all these facts about me, and then you're like, boom, like it's like, I don't know, it's really cool to watch.
Does that still trip you out when I do that with these random people that we run into?
No, it trips me out. Like when we go to parties and stuff, and you're just like talking to all of them, like Ashwin, you know all these people here, bro. I don't even need to be here. You know, I'm like, you know all these people. If I need to get connected, be like, hey, Ashwin, I know you know this person. Like, boom, it's like perfect. And you just like, I don't know, that relationship is really, really cool to watch. Like. It's a lot better than, like I said, the counterpart of just like not being friendly with people or feeling like
it's so much more fun. Yeah. When you go out and you know everyone, it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
I think it's most people are scared of getting rejected by other people.
Sure.
Or feeling that they're not worthy. But I think realistically, the core of human beings, we all just want to be loved, and we all just want to give and take love back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes each and one of us special.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I think the last person I talked to this about was actually our artist Gatsby. I literally was just, he was telling me about why people love puppies so much. Yeah, they're cute or whatever. But every time you see a puppy, it's coming up to you really fast. It's wagging its tail. It's happy. It's showing off all these body languages that it's happy. And kind of the same thing can happen with humans. Every time I see a certain person, you're excited to see them. You're dapping them up. You're doing all these different things. And it's just like, I don't know, you get a rush to like see that person. And I don't know, the puppy factor is kind of crazy, body language wise and everything. It's really, really cool to kind of make that intro with every single person, be very excited to meet them, call them by their name, and then you see that reaction right back. And I don't know, I never really thought about it like that much in detail, but then when you're actually aware of it, it's really, really cool.
No, it's a trip. And I mean, I think Gatsby's finally reaping a lot of those rewards of like actually investing in people, because he kind of like me is also like a puppy in the sense that like, we give a lot of people a lot of love, and a lot of times it's burned us.
Yeah.
But now he's in like this amazing situation out here in California, working with like really big artists and like having a lot of success. I think it's really a culmination point of the fact that things don't happen overnight. Like you invested years of your life to be in the position to charge the type of fees that you do for your services and for your intelligence, because there are things innately that you're going to understand and save people money, even though they're paying a price premium for using someone like you instead of using an automated service.
Yeah.
Because Johnny's going to tell you about 7 years of failure.
Yeah. And I'm also going to tell you, you know, like what everyone else is doing. I'm very aware of what the other, you know, quote unquote growth hackers are doing just as much as they are me. And I don't know, I'm able to just kind of formulate everything and make sure that I'm using my expertise to really, really help out my clients and have them understand like I'm on their side and that like I'm literally trying to grow hack this thing like exactly like what I've been doing for the past 7 years every single day. And so I don't know, it's been really, really exciting.
Now, I know you've had a lot of successes from getting things to trend, working with like major music artists, and like even doing download campaigns.
Sure.
Something I like to cover with everyone that just brings people down to that human level of we all are trying to just make it and none of us aren't perfect is the failures. Can you share like an example of like something that you got into that you thought was going to be like very successful and it just ended up not working out, and how you went about like,
oh yeah, for sure.
living?
So like my first thing was like, I've always been so against like drop shipping. Like I was so against it. It's like so easy to drop ship. Like it's just like you buy something off Alibaba. I thought I would be better than Alibaba or AliExpress, like not drop shipping and just ship them all from AliExpress to my house and then do it all myself so I could get the shipments out faster. And like I just bought a bunch of these bracelets. Like I bought thousands of them, and I was like had a plan of attack. I was going to take pictures. I was going to be able to sell them. I was going to put them in all these like different slots where they were going to be retweeted. And I think I tried to sell them the first day, and I maybe sold, I want to say 6. And I had thousands of them. Like I was freaking out because like I just bought like so many like bracelets. I just had so many. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to figure out the best conversion rate, different things like that. Just a trial and error. And like at this time, I'm literally 14, 15 years old, really, really trying to figure this out. Get all these bracelets out of my house. Like I just did not want them, but I just spent like a lot of the money that I saved up to try to like do some sort of a business like move. And it didn't work out very well. But like when it comes to like my failures on social media, I've been most of the time I'm able to kind of swindle my way out of them. That one I wasn't able to, and I didn't have a safety net. But there's ways to, I feel like, take situations and eventually like at least break even on stuff. Having
a plan B.
Yeah, like always having a plan B, having a safety net. So that was like the first time that I like risked something and like didn't know too much about it, and I completely lost it. Which it's not a crazy story or anything, but like it really taught me to like, okay, be ready to kind of have a plan B for everything, have a way of getting rid of stuff. And I think a lot of people that buy inventory have had this problem in the past. Like you buy, like I was talking to some guy earlier today about this kid that he knew that bought 1,000 fidget spinners, like when they were big, like when they first came out.
And they're all the rage.
And he made a post on Facebook where he's like, I've sold 73 of them. I have like 925 left. Like, can someone please buy all these from me? I spent all my life savings on them. I'm like, holy cow. Like imagine just like spending your whole life savings. It's probably just some kid, but on fidget spinners and like thinking that you're going to resell them. So I don't know. I just tell people drop shipping is no risk at all. And that's the lesson I learned from that one for sure.
Well, that's a trip. Now, something that you do really well that most people are not good at is developing relationships online. Like the concept of online dating, like is still weird for a lot of people, but building business relationships over the years is even more complex to people. Like, how do you do business with people and not know them? And recently I was fortunate enough to go to like a Twitter meetup and see like how this whole community of people interacts, and all of you have known each other for years. How do people actually authentically connect online in a world where everyone's in the DMs?
Well, luckily for us, we all had physical properties that we were exchanging value from those properties for. So we were always had some way of communicating, even if it wasn't like, hey man, what's up? How are you doing? Like it was like, hey, retweet this real quick for me. You retweet this for me. So I don't know, like when it comes to really building these relationships of online people, it's gotten so much easier throughout the years. Now I'm like, I don't even know how many members or how many Telegram groups I'm a part of, but like now I think that's like the big play is just getting inside the Telegram groups and just like cryptocurrency groups, different stuff like that, because you're going to find people that are into similar things. They're into the internet stuff. And like if you want to have an internet relationship, do things on the internet with those people, like hands down, do things on the internet with those people, because you can build something without ever, you guys could be, he could be in New York, I could be in LA, but we're working on an insane project that comes to life, and that physical product's just on the internet. Also, all the communication was through the internet. So like, I think that's the best way of doing it. It's just thinking of projects. Everyone's trying to look for something to work on. And the internet, there's an endless world of opportunities. So finding one person that has a like common interest as you and mixing what you're good at and he's good at, or what you're interested in and what he's interested in, you can do some really, really cool things and figure it out and like kind of build a process together. I've got like so many of those Twitter kids that we've made apps together. We've done so many different things that like, now we think about, oh man, like remember like 4 years ago when we had this app and we like pull it out and like they're just like terrible apps now. Like they're just like, I don't know, they're not good. But it's just like cool to like have that stuff it's like memories that were only online. And they're like so like vivid too, which is like crazy. Like when we all sit together and all of us that had all these big accounts like over the years, we're just sitting there and just like, remember this, remember that, remember this. And like we could go on for hours, literally days upon days, talking about all these different things, all these things that went down because it's all documented. Like all of the Twitter stuff, like I could go back and look at my tweets from 2011, you know? And I don't know. I think that's one of the interesting things about the internet. You build the relationships online and then it's all there. Like it's there forever.
It's a lot of memories.
Yeah. And so like it's going to be cool, like being able to look at your Instagram from, I don't know, my Instagram now is at like from 2014 all the way to 2056. I'm able to like go like scroll all the way down the bottom of my Instagram, like see
Back
that
when I was a young man.
Yeah, and I'm able to just show my kids, like my grandkids are just gonna be like able to see like my first post on Instagram, and that would be really, really cool. I don't know, but building relationships in general, it's also cool to see that like documented.
Yeah, I had a meme that made me laugh the other day, which was, it's like, remember when your grandma would show you pictures of grandpa when he was your age, and it's like a dude at war on a motorcycle with a rifle?
Yeah.
It's like, imagine by the time that your kids have kids, it's gonna be like, remember when grandpa was your age? And it's like a little boy with a puppy filter on his face.
It's a puppy filter. It's got like 2 fidget spinners, like playing Fortnite or something. I don't know.
It's such a trip because all of these data and all this information is now readily available at who you were at any given specific point in your past.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is a trip. It's amazing and it's like terrifying at the same time because people obviously evolve.
Yeah.
Which is so gnarly. Mm-hmm. Now, do you have any mentors that like taught you a lot of stuff about like the business that you're in or just life?
I think a lot of it has just been from, I wouldn't say necessarily mentors, but just people that do very similar things as me. And so I'm able to understand like the processes that they're doing. But then I look at like the generation before me, the people that aren't necessarily doing social media marketing, but did really, really good at the branding part of it and like helping me kind of understand that part of it. Travis has always been one. I think you've had him on the show before. I saw you guys posted up Travis Lubinski. He's been like a really, he's just like an older guy who's been out here for longer than me. And so he just like is able to like understand, like teach me lessons before I have to learn them myself. And that's always like really, really cool to talk to him. He actually only lives like a 3-minute walk from me down the street. So it's like really, really cool.
It's convenient.
Yeah, very convenient. Hit him up, get some kabuki or something. But yeah, I think when it comes to people I learn for and like that are mentoring me, a lot of it comes from people that I'm just seeing kill it online, and like they're inspiring me. They're doing all these cool things. Some of them are younger than me. There's like 19, 18-year-old kids that are founders of these app companies now and are really, really crushing it. And it's so cool to watch like it all go together. And that's like I'm more inspired by that, not as much having like a mentor, having someone, you know, like that's
being mentored by your peer group.
Yeah,
it's people around you succeeding, learning from their wins and their losses.
Yeah. And we all have like our specific things that we're interested in. And so like I'm learning about what they're doing. It's like so cool. And then they'll like do some sort of iteration of something that they're interested in. And I'm like, oh, wow, would this work with like hip hop music, or, you know, would this work with basketball, different things like that? Cause like if I can, the dream like scenario for me is one has to do with social media and social media growth. But if I can also really, really care about that subject, like whether it be basketball, hip hop music, just like fashion in general, that's 2 like areas for me to get really, really excited about the project on. And I've just like started loving doing that. Like that's what I've really started to figure out. I love social media, and I love whatever the subject is, put it together. And it's just like, I don't know, it's great.
You're happy. Your Mondays are like your Fridays. You don't have a differentiation.
No, you're just excited. You're just like, you're working, you see a goal. You're just like, I don't know. It's like, it's so cool.
Now, if you could be any insect, what type of insect would you be?
I want to say, I feel like a butterfly would be like the best. Like you're just like, everyone who doesn't like, no one's trying to kill a butterfly. One, like if you're a fly, you got to be afraid of like, you know, like getting hit, like getting high-fived or something. But I think if you're just a butterfly, you're just chilling. Do they have long lifespans?
24 hours.
Oh, geez.
I think it's 24. I'm not positive.
How long do like bees live? I feel like bees the next one.
I actually learned another fun fact. Do you know after a bee has sex, a male bee has sex?
It dies.
Its testicles pop and it dies.
Yeah. I learned that early on.
You already knew?
Yeah.
And you picked a B?
Yeah, B-Facts.
Damn, you were about living in the now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? YOLO.
Yeah,
You're like Drake. You only live once.
You only live once. He's killing it.
Yeah, man, that's a trip. Now, you've met a lot of interesting people throughout your time and work. Who's someone that you haven't met, living or dead, that you'd like to meet, and what would you want to learn from?
Probably like one of the most basic. I'll go with my second one. My basic one I feel like is like a normal one.
Let's do 1 and 2.
All right, one I think would probably be like Kanye West, just because he, the way that he does his stuff is very interesting to me. The way that he formulates his brands, the demand that he's kind of made for them have been really, really cool. And then I'm just like he's the reason that I love hip hop music. He was the first person I was really ever exposed to in hip hop, and so he's like the reason that I like first started loving it. But I would have to say I just want to talk to him and like really pick his brain. Really crazy. Like he had the Ye album that I thought was really, really good because of he's bringing like mental health and different things like that, which is like really important to me. And he's dealt with a lot of similar things that I have throughout the past, kind of seeing his breakdowns play out, different things like that. I would love to kind of talk to him about that as well. And then the second person I would have to say is probably, I think I've talked to you about it before, Elon Musk would be like a sick one to talk to. I just want to like have a beer with Elon Musk or something. Like he's so cool. Like I watched like a lot of him speaking and just like the way that he talks and like how he's just like so forward thinking. Like it's just like, how would you not want to be like around that energy, you know, for a minute, or you're just like talking to him and like really understanding this is a guy that's doing some crazy stuff and is like probably going to be the reason that we go to Mars first. And like, he's going to be an icon forever.
And he made a badass flamethrower.
And an insane flamethrower. And he just sold it like crazy. He can sell anything. That's what he really said. And he sold a flamethrower, sold it out. Crazy.
Such a trip too, because like people like no one ever invented a flamethrower. And I started Googling that. And there's so many other flamethrowers out on the market.
Mm-hmm. But he made it cool. He made it badass.
He made it cool. He made it like sleek and convenient.
Yeah, it's like something like a clone from like Star Wars would like hold or something. And it's just like, I don't know. It's dope.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. It's a trip. Now, what are some tools that you use to like optimize your day?
Optimizing my day, a lot of it, like I never really understood how integrated Google Calendar was with my Apple iPhone.
I live and die by my Google Calendar.
Yeah, but like how weird is it that I guess it's just because of my email? Is it because of my email that every time I have a meeting, it's just like it's telling me.
A lot of people send Google Cal invites.
Yeah,
and sometimes it'll pick up on a meeting in there.
No, and it does that for me. It's like, it's awesome. Like I was like, oh, Google and Apple talk to each other. That's pretty cool. Like it's all on that same thing. That helps me a lot. And a lot of my business is really just meeting with people, talking to people, and then putting people that are really good at something in the room with the right people. And that's all I've been really focusing on is kind of, you have a really good brand. You have a really good network that fits that brand. Put 2 and 2 together and then just let them figure it out from there. And then anything I can collect off of it, I do. But it's just like putting 2 people in the room is like a lot of my business.
You're like a matchmaker.
Yeah, it's a matchmaker for brand owners and influencers and people that run really, really big networks. And I have like that understanding of I just blanked out.
Intrinsically, what connects these two things or how to align their goals.
Yeah. And so that's what I try to do. Again, I understand the point of view of the brand owner and the person that's running these like campaigns or whatever it's going to be. And so I'm able to like say like, hey, this is what I know what you're going to be looking out for. And I'm able to like the person running the campaign, I'm able to get them everything that they need. But a lot of my tools that I use when I work is just talking and just on my phone. I'd say iMessage is my most popular tool. And then I love like messing with different things, basic like Premiere Pro, Adobe, Photoshop, doing that with like my Twitter account that I run and different stuff like that. I don't know. I love creating stuff on the computer. It's really, really cool.
That's a trip. Now, with the nature of what you do, it's pretty much 24/7 because social media doesn't get Fridays. Yeah. I mean, Saturdays or Sundays off.
Yeah, my downtime is like not existent because everyone else's downtime is when they're on their phone. And that's when I need to be like using social media the most, or like be really, really focusing on campaigns the most, like those key times that people are chilling, relaxing, you know, Sunday nights. People are on their phones. Like those are the times like I gotta go ham. Like on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, like social media isn't as poppin' as it is. Usually on like Thursdays, sometimes it all depends on the account too. Like my account that's just geared towards hip hop, like it's the most poppin' on Thursday nights because that's when all the drops are like right at midnight on Eastern time zone, but like Thursday night, this time zone. So that's when it's like most poppin'. So it's like understanding the perspectives of the different
end users.
Yeah. Like who's following this account and like why would they be on at this time? So it's really case by case.
So how do you go about making time for yourself and like living your life?
I mean, I love social media. Like I love it. So it's like one of those things is like my life is literally social media. I love like following all these trends, learning about it, and then like seeing where it's going, seeing where augmented reality is going, seeing where virtual reality is going, seeing where all of these different things are kind of working together, being able to push out all of these cool technologies using social media, making sure people know about it. I don't know. I'm genuinely, that's what I do when I'm having fun. And so like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And like, I don't know, the time for myself is just when it happens, I guess, when I'm able to just chill out for a little bit, but it'll
be with the flow.
Yeah. It'll be a random day, but usually it's just like, I'm actively looking, trying to take in as much information as possible.
Okay. Now, if you could go back, or if you could give advice to young Johnny now, or a kid that's trying to get started in the social media game, what would be the top 3 to 5 facts or things that you'd wish that they'd get through their head as they're getting started or take into account?
Well, if it was right now, I'd probably tell them a lot differently because everything's like so much different. Like
I think it's constantly evolving, so let's do it.
It's changed so much. Like from like starting in 2011, I'd be telling like you like completely different myself. Like I'd be telling myself something like completely different. But like if I'm telling someone right now, I would tell them like probably the smartest thing I could tell someone that doesn't know anything about social media is start trying to kind of, I don't want to say drop ship, but it's literally drop shipping services. So like think about like doing SEO, think about doing any social media growth, doing stuff like that. Figure out, you know, kind of ways of selling that. Like you got to understand SEO and then go to every single business that's around you. Literally it could be inside Bellevue, Tennessee, and you can go and find these people that aren't being found on SEO, search engine optimization, and you can just hire someone on Fiverr to do it. It costs $200, charge them, I don't know, $1,000, and then you're just keeping $800 right at the top. Start to build some money, start to figure out some ways, and then you can think about trying to buy big assets or buy big Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts, figure out how to do some promotion for your account and really start to grow. If that's what you're trying to actively pursue, is like having that accolade of being able to grow an account and then figuring it out from there, I guess.
Okay. Now that you're successful in social media space and you're doing pretty well, you kind of have an eye towards like what the future of this business is probably looking towards, right?
Sure.
Where do you see this business going in like 5 years?
A lot of the stuff that really is interesting to me right now, that I think it's going to play in some part, I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's the augmented reality space. The fact that I could like coming this fall, Apple is going to have, you can upload an image to your phone and it's just like a whole like augmented reality thing. So I'd be like, oh, Ashwin, what do you think about this bracelet I'm trying to sell? I could upload this file to my phone and send it to you. And you could literally put it on this table right here and literally like look at it on your phone and really like zoom in on the details, different things like that. So I don't know exactly where social media is headed. I just know technologies like that are going to become more and more advanced. And so I just want to be ready for that. And that's kind of what I'm just telling people, like virtual reality, augmented reality, different stuff like that is going to probably be the future. Like that's the next step for sure. Until like all this stuff just becomes like, I don't know, we're like randomly making this stuff like for real. It just like pops up on your phone and like you make it a real thing. Like,
you can put your hand out and see what this bracelet will look like.
Yeah, you can look at it on yourself, different things like that. And it's just making the experience better for the consumer, the person that's buying the product. As fun as that can be, as good as that can be, that's where VR and augmented reality are really going to come into play. Because like I could like think about it, like being a sunglass company. I think that's already a thing. Sunglass has it where you can put on the glasses and like it's just a filter where you can like see the glasses on your face by just looking at into your phone, which is crazy to me. And it's just like, I don't know how like insanely accelerated social media is going to get, but I just know the technology and stuff is just accelerating crazy too.
I know with technological advancements, it makes a lot more business decisions that were higher involvement.
Yeah.
Extremely low involvement, because you can have most of the experience without actually having to leave your couch.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy. And it's like you're going to be able to put on VR glasses, go in your living room and walk around and like pick up clothes, look at it. You're going to be able to go to the grocery store, look at like the oranges that you're picking out, and then it all just shows up to your door an hour later, or it shows up to your door 24 hours later, 48 hours later, whatever it is. Like that's just what it's going to go down to. Like you're going to be able to shop without leaving your couch, which is so like crazy to me.
I didn't even think about meetings.
Yeah.
Most of your meetings are probably going to be done remotely, virtually.
Literally.
Which is such a gnarly concept in business. Like you used to think that you'd need to leave your house to go meet with someone. It's like, nope, I'm going to hop into my little VR simulation and
it's just
have
like
a coffee on my own couch.
It's like a whole new existence, which is like so crazy to me. Like it blows my mind.
Have you done any use of VR or AR technology yet?
I'm working on a few things that I think are going to be really, really cool. So like inside of that space, who is going to have, influence? Who's going to have influence inside of like virtual reality or like augmented reality? And like, I don't know, I want to have like the first, like I've seen some people that are like virtual augmented reality people, but I want to make mine like the first like real big one that kind of like pops off and like is really, really well known. And like they can make music. They're all like, they're fake, but they can also do whatever can come outside of the phone. So they can make videos. They can do all sorts of things. So that's kind of what I've been focused on, like what's going to be the level of influence inside of that realm. And so the influencer is, I think, going to be dope.
Such a trip.
Really? Because it's like, who do you have looking forward to, like when you're able to use those type of apps? If you're going to have a spokesperson for those type of apps that are showing like that kind of like animated type of form, well, you're going to have people in that too. I want to have someone where it's just like, wow, you have ownership of that person. That's just like the most well-known like virtual reality person or augmented reality person. I think it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, it's in a piece of IP.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Which is unique and it's differentiable. And I think it's like having a faceless account on social media right now.
No, literally. It's the exact same thing. It's like you don't have to deal with the actual influencer at all. You just have to deal with the person creating the pictures and like creating whatever you want that person to influence.
That's already a big thing in Japan and a lot of Asian countries.
Killing it. So it's like, why can it not be popping out here? Like I think it will. You just got to have that right person. It's got to have the right look.
The right idea.
Yeah.
The right creative to hit with the audience.
It's cooking up.
Okay. Now, I know you're pretty well read and you stay up to date reading like what's going on. What are some things that you'd recommend for people to read, whether it be a book or a website or a blog?
Books are really, really cool just because I like, like having them, like having the physical thing to own. Like you can read articles all day and stuff. I just don't know how, when you get a book, it's like official. It's like, this is a thing, like really, really big. Yeah. And so it's, Letters from Leaders I read recently. I really, really liked. It's literally this guy compiled a bunch of letters from like every influential person like throughout history. It's not everyone, but like you get what I'm saying. And it's just like, it's got crazy. Like you open up the page and you can read like the actual letter from like Muhammad Ali that he wrote. And you really like have an understanding of like where he was going through in his like most like influential times. And like you just like, I don't know, like Trump's on there, like a bunch of random people are on there. And it's just really, really cool to kind of read all of their like most important letters or like most important statements and like see like how they got to where they got. And I don't know, that's like one of my favorite. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Gatsby put me onto that one too.
I put him onto that book.
That will always be one of my favorite ones. I've done so much research about that book. Like it's like apparently as close as you can get to being the Bible when it comes to like teaching people how to treat people. I think that's like every single person should read that, like from first grade to like eighth grade, every year, and like everyone would just be like really, really good citizens and like really like, I don't know.
I think I need to teach in kindergarten, dude. Yeah. Like it's so key to how to treat people well.
Yeah, like
it's so basic.
If you're like in any school that starts teaching people that and like understanding like why you do that and why it's good to do people right, and adamantly about really, really focusing on those things and having them really go through that process from kindergarten to eighth grade, I think would be like insane. That book's so good. I'm trying to think. I don't know. There's a lot of good books out there for sure, though. what everybody is saying. It's about just literally looking at people's body language and what everyone's literally how they're standing, how they're looking at you, how their face, like every little detail. I really, really like that one a lot too.
That's a good one.
What's that? I forget it's by some FBI agent that literally like tells people how he gets like answers out of some of like the world's like worst criminals at the time when he was working, and he could do a lot of it just by reading their body language and how they're doing stuff, like when they're scratching their face, doing different things, how they're pointing their legs. You can really understand a person's situation through that, which is really, really
the majority of things that we're saying are nonverbal.
Yeah.
Pitch, tone, and like the way that our body mannerism is.
I love it. It's so cool.
And you see that a lot at like poker tables or even in like business meetings and negotiation. Being aware of that stuff is so key to
being super aware.
Being aware. And that's the best way of like really getting things done. So that is a win-win for both people.
Yeah, for sure.
People don't usually like to say what they're actually looking for. It's misdirection.
Yeah. But yeah, those 3 books right there are, I think, like really can help out a lot of people if they're just like, if you just need something to read, those are 3 books that are just will really, really make you smarter when it comes to dealing with people. And when it comes to, I don't know, if you're trying to be in a leadership role, Letters from Leaders is pretty good as well.
No, that's amazing, man. Now, where can people follow you online or connect with what you're up to?
All my stuff is jrapp, JRAPP on Instagram and Twitter. And then Johnny at jrappmedia.com. If you ever want to shoot me an email, I love answering emails and kind of, I don't know, collaborating with as many people as possible that are in the social media space. So many people are doing so many cool things out here, and I want to be able to add value to those that I think are really like standing out and like need more light on them. But yeah, JRAPP on Twitter and Instagram are where to find me.
That's amazing, man. Well, I want to thank you on coming on this episode of the New Hollywood Podcast. You can find us pretty much everywhere the podcasts live, present and in the future, because we're going to want to evolve into what's happening. Always. You can follow me, your host, at Ashwin Jacob on Instagram. Love connecting with all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Johnny. Be sure to follow him. He's an amazing guy to know in the social media space. And hope you all have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.